Have a wonderful time with this amazing wisdom circle, and welcome to our next installment of Being You, Living Life Authentically. Of course, my name is Sophia from Sacred You, and we have the honor of presenting these wisdom circles, and I'm really excited because this is a topic close to my heart. But I'm going to hand it over to the beautiful Jennylee Taylor, who is facilitating today's discussion, to let us know a little bit about what it is about being you, and before we introduce this incredible panel of women who have come from all over the world to join us. So thank you, Jenny Lee. I will return at the end. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Sophia. What a beautiful introduction. Hello, I'm Jennylee Taylor. This is the fifth episode of Being You, Living Life Authentically, and we've had some great discussions up until now. It's actually a really passionate topic of mine because it's taken me a very long time to come back to being seen and being heard and being who I am, and for myself to understand who I am as a person. And we have such a beautiful array of people on board today to talk about this topic from all over the world, some in the morning, some in the evening. So welcome, everyone. And if I'm just going to go around the circle as you on my screens, and I'm ask you to give a short intro. Barbara Marie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm happy to be here. I am Barbara Marie Babish, and I teach spiritual seekers and holistic practitioners and coaches to tap more fully into their inner guidance system. You know how we all have a GPS in our cars that guide us on the road? Well, we all have an IGS to help guide us in life. That's our inner guidance system. So my core teachings are all around inner guidance. And I do have a proprietary system called the Way of the Rainbow, and that I use that to teach others. I'm also a doctor of metaphysics and have more than 25 years in sharing my gifts and my knowledge. And so basically, I help you explore, expand, and express your divine essence.
Beautiful. Thank you, Barbara Marie. Alison, would you like to come in and introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Alison Zeidler, and I live in Canada. And I empower chronically stressed and overwhelmed people to ditch that anxiety and overwhelm so they can live powerful, motivated lives with that passion and zest that frequently, as we age, drops for a variety of factors. I like to give my clients lots of tools at home. It's great when they come in and see me and any other practitioner, but you can't go every day to see a practitioner. It just doesn't work. So you need at-home tools also. I work with a variety of different modalities, energy healing, listening and asking questions of the body, literally. And I also work with pets, help release trauma, pain, all of that stuff that impacts their behavior and their lifespan. And while I predominantly do work with women, I work with a lot of men now too. They're also very chronically overstressed and overwhelmed too. So thank you.
Thank you, Alison. I was just making sure my audio was back on. Yeah, beautiful work. Working with pets as well. How fascinating. Thank you. Charlie, Sparkle, would you like to come and introduce yourself, please?
I would. Thank you so much, Jennylee. I'm so excited to be here with you all. My name is Charlie Lapamardo. I go by Sparkle when I'm performing. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm a speaker, singer, and facilitator. My mission and my vision is to create a world where all beings may be happy and free to sparkle. This came from my own experience that I am now sharing in the form of a show. It's called The Sparkle Show. It is debuting at No Other Festival on April 17th of this year. It is an interactive musical keynote that tells the story of how I came back to my voice and myself. So thank you all so much for sharing this space with me. I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you, Charlie. How beautiful. Dr. Ida, would you like to come in and introduce yourself, please?
Yes, my name is Dr. Ida Green. I call myself the Miracle Mentor. I am a speaker, an author of 24 books. I'm a therapist as well. So I wear two hats as a spiritual person. I'm also an ordained minister. And what I do in the spiritual realm is help people to tap into their inner wisdom, to own that, and to really get messages from spirit. So I channel that energy and I teach others how to channel that energy so they can get the message from spirit to assist them as they walk through the difficult spaces in life and manage that with ease and grace.
Beautiful. What a wide range of speakers we have today. How exciting. It's going to be a great conversation. Fanny, would you like to come in and introduce yourself, please?
Yes, thanks so much. I'm Fanny. I'm founder of the Radical Love Movement. I live in Denver, Colorado, and I train people into embodying their authentic selves through the body.
Love that. Thank you. And Laura.
Yes. Hi, I'm Laura Bratton, and I'm another speaker and author here. So I specifically speak and coach on how do we navigate through change. And what I guide people on is how do we navigate through change using the balance of grit and of gratitude. And that comes from my own personal experience of being fully sighted, healthy, and becoming blind as a teenager. So having to adjust to major change and then obviously live every day in a sighted world without sight. So empowering people each day as they face their adversity to navigate through change.
Oh, it's really exciting to have you on board, Laura, from a really different perspective to the rest of us. Thank you so much for coming on. And I didn't say what I do. So my passion is to help leaders, however they identify, to really come back to who they are. I want to see the face behind the leader. I want to actually see who they really are, not who they are standing up to be in front of everyone else. So my work with leaders can be quite challenging for them, and I love it. I love going deep with them and really coming back to, I want to see you is the first thing I say to most people who come in the room. So thank you, everyone. Today, just on that, today we're going to delve into the topic of being you, living life authentically through the eyes of, what does it take to have the courage to be really seen as you are? What is being truly seen cost you? What has it given you? How do you recognize when you're editing in the room? And just, what it takes to actually step into being seen as you are. Whether there's a whole heap of inner work that has to be done first, because a lot of people don't understand who they are in the first place or have lost sight of who they are in the bigger picture. So we just want to open that conversation up to maybe Charlie. Let's start with you. In your world, how do you recognize when you are actually editing yourself in the room?
I like the word editing. I don't often think about that. I often think of it in terms of masking. So I'm neurodivergent, like a wonderful, fun, sparkly mix of neurodivergence. And so I have learned through that and through theater in my life how to mask and fit into a space. And so I notice that I am doing that when I am like speaking almost from a script rather than from my own curiosity. And so the biggest clue is that I'm bored. Like I'm in conversations and we're talking and I'm not really invested in the questions that I'm asking. I'm not really super interested in hearing the answers. And so that means that I've diverged into a conversation that either I think I'm playing a role that I'm supposed to play, or that I think this is what this person expects of me or whatever. So oftentimes it's just when I'm bored, because I can feel the difference in my body when I meet someone and I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, we have so much to talk about. Okay. And then we're like talking over each other and there's like endless questions. I can feel a sharp contrast between that and, oh, and how long have you lived in Seattle? Do you have family out there? You know?
Yeah. So this concept of having to do the small talk or something like that when you're not really invested in it. Yeah. Is that so? Yeah. Okay. Does anyone else want to chime in on that? Barbara Marie?
Let me unmute myself. I think for me, I'm 73 and I've had clients for many years, but I had them more as a hobby offering services. And now that I've created, like I've retired 3 times, came back 3 times, like I'm here now to stay, no more excuses. And a big part of that is letting myself be seen. But I think it's taken a lot of spiritual growth, personal growth, and needing confidence in myself and my work and what I offer that's led me to being able to be seen, being my true self. I always joke about what's his name, the country and western star, Blake Shelton. He's this big goofy guy, country and western singer, popular in country and western everywhere, and he is just being himself. And he's very successful. And you can see that among all of these different movie stars and singers, when they're just themselves, they are loved. And so because they're confident, right? And it comes with the confidence. So for myself, I'm way more confident now that I'm here to stay. I know my life purpose, and I'm speaking at different events now, which is new. You know, I host events. I'm more like to be in the background. But now that I've got more confidence and confidence in my life purpose, that's where I'm not afraid to be seen. And when I am afraid to be seen, it's in a place where I don't know the people. And so coming to this group, it's like, oh my God, I don't know these people. But once I felt into it and felt the energy of you and Sophia, it's like, these are my people, and I'm safe to just be me.
Beautiful, Barbara Marie. And thank you for giving a perspective at 73 and having all that life experience. I'm just wondering, you know, it's obviously you've arrived at that place and now you want to be out there and you're not going to retire again. You're here to stay. Does anyone want to just chime in and say, what about people who aren't there yet? You know, what is it that, you know, maybe in your journey that might help someone else sort of really, people sort of, I can hear people sort of going, yeah, but how do you get there? How do you get to that place? Does anyone want to add anything in there?
I would like to respond to that because I wear many hats. I'm a teacher, I'm a therapist, I'm an intuitive person channeling messages from people, run a nonprofit. But the one thing, I have been ordained as a minister since 85, and I didn't choose to do that. It happened so quick. It was not something I wanted to do. I thought, well, I told God, that's not what I want. I'm going to do what I want to do. And I'm recently, just until about a month ago, I went to a church and I signed myself as Dr. Ida Green. You said something, you're Reverend Ida Green. So I wrote Reverend Ida Green. So I'm claiming that, coming out of that place, coming out of being a Dr. Reverend Ida Green, and seeing what that is like. And it's a new church and no one knows me. So I'm able to create this identity as Reverend Ida Green and see how that works. So I'm coming out into a whole new identity, and it's fun. It's a new place that I've never been in before. So I've been that way, had that title for like 25 years and never said I was Reverend Ida Green.
Beautiful. That takes a lot of courage to come out and do that. I guess there's a lot of us in the world who have these beautiful gifts or have done a lot of training in something, but really find over time that you can't quite step into doing that. So how does anyone want to add anything on how what it's taken you to step over that line from going, oh yes, I've got this unusual, really great unusual talent, but I'm too afraid to use it. What has helped you step over the line, Alison?
I can. So I'm in my almost mid-60s, so I care less about what other people think. That's a slow progression, because historically I'm like always, oh, I have to be perfect, right? I have to know everything. And so over the years, I've learned, no, I don't have to be perfect, and no, I don't have to know everything. It's for me, it was starting really small, like speaking, oh, just casually mentioning some certificate that I've just recently got, and sort of see where it lands. And, people didn't look at me like I'd sprouted 3 heads. So I would start to feel a little bit safer, opening up and sharing, because I wasn't really allowed to do that as a kid. So it took a long time to sort of break through that. But I would say just start really small. I have probably close to 200 certificates and trainings, because I went through that very long period of time that, oh, I'm not good enough. I kept listening to that voice that said, oh, I'm not good enough. So give yourself credit for what you bring, what you've learned, your life story. And if you're like me, just start really small. Just share a little bit here and there, and it gets easier and easier. Mostly.
Mostly. Yeah. What came to mind when you were speaking then was someone told me once when I was struggling with this in my work, you don't need to know everything. You just need to know more than the person who wants to come and work with you. And it could be really, really simple, especially, I know that I still fall into the trap sometimes, having done, been in this game for a lot of years. You kind of, you advance on your knowledge on things, but then you've got to remember, when I was back on day one, that thing that seems so simple now, I didn't know. So I can still teach that thing to someone. So it's really important. I love your idea of just taking it a step at the time. And the continuous, I can't do, I'm not good enough, I'm stupid, all those scripts that we run in the background can have a big impact. So I know in my work, in my own journey, that it was about what's holding those in place for me. So doing the inner work is a big message. Fanny, did you want to chime in at all?
I'd love to. What I'm hearing here is a lot of things, but your question of like, how do you get started? Yeah. And I think one of the like very first steps you have to take is to acknowledge that you have a calling, to something beyond what you're living in right now, the patterning, the limitations, the storylines, the whatever, right? And the other side of that is that there will always be that script with you. There isn't like a magical day one day when you're like, oh, I've mastered everything, and that little voice of your ego doesn't go, yeah, but you still suck at this thing, so really you can't do any of it. It's like, yes, I hear you talking, but I don't have to listen to you. And I think that's a place where a lot of people get hung up on their journey of like listening to their calling, listening to who they were born to be in the world, is they don't know that their perception isn't a reflection of actuality, of what's actually possible, of what's actually in front of them, of the possibilities that their heart holds. They take it as what is, because that's what it's organized around, and that's how we've kept ourselves safe. We're like, if my mom, when I'm a baby, if my mom doesn't like it when I cry, I don't get fed, then I die. So then it's like, well, then I won't express myself, right? And you make those things up at that time in your life, and they just stay with you and with you until you realize you're bringing them along. You're holding on to that sack. And you can let it go, but it's still like attached to you. So know that you have a heart and you have a calling. That's like for me, that's the first step, is to be like, yes, there's something in here that wants to come out. And then when you say yes to that, you'll be surprised at how the journey unfolds in front of you and what things pop up to support you in that.
Yeah, thank you. I love that. Identifying that you have a calling. And I don't know about everyone else, but one of my favorite questions is to ask somebody at whatever stage of life they are, is there something that you would have loved to have done that you haven't done yet? Is there something really, what's your passion that you haven't done yet? And it really comes back to, well, maybe that is their calling. And a great something great that I came across, I'm trying to think of the word, I can't think of it, is that courage, because that's what we're talking about here, is the courage to be seen for who you are, equals commitment, which is I'm committed to this is my calling, plus doubt. So it's okay to have those I'm not good enough and all those things in the background, but then taking action anyway. So courage equals commitment plus. Have I been muted that whole time? Oh, great. So yeah, courage equals commitment plus doubt plus action. So being able to feel the fear and do it anyway, in the words of Susan Jeffries, if you've read that book. Yeah, so, and alongside of that, this is another question I want to pose. When have you noticed yourself defending or over-explaining who you are from a place of, I need to defend myself because I'm not in my true self? Does that make sense? Like, I'll give you an example. In my field, there's a lot of breath work out there at the moment. And what I found myself defending my type of breath work because I see there's some, things that, I'm not aligned with happening in the industry. So I started saying, breath work is not this and it's not that and it's not this. And, then I realized that I was coming from a place of defending who I am and defending my work rather than saying, this is what breath work is. It's powerful, it's transformational, it's deep, all these sorts of things. So I don't know, has anyone got an example of where you've had to defend yourself from a place of fear rather than standing in a place of strength and courage for who you are? Anyone?
I would like to add to that, this thing about being a minister, my sister many, many years ago said that women can't be ministers. And so I heard that in my mind and I shut that down. And I just recently thinking out, I have done everything in my life, and this is one thing I need to complete, right? Put a dot behind everything I've come this lifetime to do. And I thought about it, but I think when I went to that church and that voice said, you're a minister, that gave me the courage to do that. So sometimes messages that family members can say, even though it wasn't my mother, wasn't my brother or my dad, it was my sister, those messages that you hear can stop you in your track and impede you. So I'm just realizing that has been that voice in the back of my mind, and I didn't do it because I thought, well, what if she's right? Whatever. I heard that voice instead of listening to my own authentic voice of source.
Yeah, beautiful. And it's I can hear, Ida, that's been really empowering for you as well. Yeah. To be able to do it anyway, feel the fear and do it anyway, because you're getting that voice from beyond. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Anyone else?
I wanted to speak to a point that Fanny made about the finding our calling. And I think often when we talk about this, we speak about it as if we are creating something, like we are finding our path. And I think it's important to remember that in authenticity is not our natural state, that the ways that we show up in the world as adults, were formed when we were kids. So authenticity is not something that we are creating, it's something that we are returning to. And many of us were well aware of our calling as kids, and then other social situations taught us what was okay and what was not okay. But I think it's important to acknowledge that we've always known these truths of ourselves, even if we're not conscious of it. Somewhere as kids, we were aware of that. And when you said defensive, many of the behaviors that we exhibit today when we're not living in alignment were defense mechanisms, and they are now outdated and they don't work. Like in my experience, I didn't come into authenticity because I was like, I'm ready to be myself again. I came to that because I was there was no future on the path that I was on. Like I didn't feel alive. And so yes, it was a choice, but in some ways it wasn't. It was just like, I need to return to this. I'm being called to it, and this won't let go of me. This mission is so clear to me, and it just wouldn't release me. And so it was more, I think of it when you're talking about being a reverend, Dr. Ida, like if it calls, it's our job to answer. And repressing that actually takes more work a lot of the time than honoring it. It's just when we live it out that things start to get a little messy and hard. And we have to keep walking even through the doubt.
Absolutely. And take action. Yeah.
Grounded forward motion is what I call it. That's how we
Great.
bring our dreams down to the ground.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Alison, did you have something you want to add? No, not at this stage. Okay, so Charlie, I love that the word re-remembering came to me when you were talking about this idea that our natural state is probably when we're up until 4 years old for most people. And then there's this forgetting that happens because the world is telling us, we can't do this, we're not good enough, all the things come into play. And then there's this waking up or re-remembering. I know in my own journey, I actually didn't know that I had a calling. I just knew that I didn't want to do what I was doing anymore. I got to a point where I just went, oh my God, if I keep on this path, I may as well take my own soul out, put it on the ground and stomp on it myself. I have no idea what my future looks like. I just know I don't want to be here doing what I'm doing. And I'll be honest, my work, I did love my work, but there was something missing at a soul level, and I didn't know what that was. So I just tried something new. Has anyone else had that experience or a similar experience? Or Dr. Ida?
What I told God, I didn't want to become a minister. What I'm going to do is work with the abused children and help them. So I started working with the abused kids. But what happened, I started doing angel reading and I had ADHD kids, and it got me into my intuitive part because I would never have done angel reading and teaching the kids how to do angel reading. Then I started dressing like an angel and giving angel reading. And so it really led to a whole new path, rather than ministerial, but a spiritual path. And so it was just, spirit has a way of bringing you to your true self. So I did it a different way, but I got into a intuitive place that I never would have gotten had I gone the traditional path rather than the non-traditional path.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Laura, did you want to pipe in there anywhere? You're just on mute at the moment. Yeah.
Yes. So I would love to speak to that, and then also to connect, to circle back what was just said about like it takes more work to suppress. That was 100% my experience. It took way more work to suppress it down and defend rather than just being honest in me. So in college, I felt like in every conversation I had to say, well, when I used to be sighted, blah, blah, blah. It was like I had to prove, oh, I used to be like you. I used to be. Even though I'm not now, I have to prove I used to. Like that made me feel worthy. It wasn't until I learned the self-compassion and the self-love that I could just be in that honesty and just say, yeah, this is who I am now, and I'm comfortable in my own skin.
Oh, and how freeing is that? When you
Yes,
can do
it
that.
circles back to it takes more work to suppress than to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. And you don't, and you, I know I didn't realize that until I started practicing it. It was just
Right.
like this weight lifts off your shoulders when you can just go, oh, I can just be me. I don't have to
Right.
do
Yeah,
these
I
other
wasn't
things.
consciously doing it. I had no clue I was doing it until other people pointed out. Like, stop telling us when you used to could.
Yeah.
Just be you. And I was like, well, I'm being me. And they're like, no, you're not. You're sitting here with a guide dog. Don't talk about when you could see.
That's great. Yeah, beautiful. And do you think that changes over time as well? Like we all grow and change. So this idea of being me in the moment, has that grown and changed for you over time?
100%. It's
Yeah.
an ongoing process. It's not a destination perfection.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know that the person I was 10 years ago is different. And everyone has to come along with that, doesn't it? Like when you grow and change and you change being who you are and just come settling into more of being yourself, kind of everyone needs to be taught how to interact with you again to some degree. Yeah.
You learn.
Yeah. Beautiful.
I think you also pass milestones that feel like such huge progress that you then don't want to regress back behind them. Like when I am on stage, I am literally wearing wings. I am wearing fairy wings and a crown and sparkle boots. And that is such a big character. And I've become comfortable owning that as my identity. And then last week, I was at this conference with very traditional Southern men. And I have traditional Southern men that I love. So I'm not living in the idea of who these people are. And I am queer and loud about it. And so I was at this conference and I was questioning, should I wear my rainbow pin? Like, are people going to see that and take it as a symbol and make assumptions about me? And then I miss out on a connection. And I was really, really doubting that, even though I go on stage and wear these huge wings, right? And so I just remembered, like, the people who are for me will not miss me. And in being big and in being in rainbows, the people who actually align with me are going to be drawn to me like a magnet. And it's okay if some of those guys are turned off by it. I'm not responsible for that. But I think passing the point of being so visibly big has given me courage to be like, I'm not going to go back just for these guys.
Yeah. And it's also getting past that point of that you have to be liked by everyone. Yeah. Barbara Marie, do you have anything in your story that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I was just thinking about Blake Shelton again. And this country star being this big goof. And it's like when we are our true selves, showing our personalities, it gives others permission to be themselves. Like I'm pretty laid back, I'm pretty casual, even though I've got, fantastic gifts, like it sounds like everybody here does. It's like I'm just me. I always say I'm just little old me here on the farm. And it gives everyone else kind of a relaxed feeling when I'm in my facilitating groups. And it gives them permission to kind of be themselves. And as I share and my vulnerable moments, my weaknesses, which would be like human weaknesses, but would be judged as that. It's like then they feel safe to be able to tell their story and to confess what their fears are. And so it's that authenticity that breeds authenticity, if you want to say that.
Yeah, absolutely. That and by being ourselves, we can give others permission. But what about, I know in my own journey that I almost had to give myself permission to be myself. We can be our greatest judger of ourselves. Did anyone else have to do that? Fanny, did you want to chime in there?
I did. I was actually thinking about, I mean, definitely it's funny you bring up permission, because my whole personality type is organized around needing permission. And it's like a constant giving myself permission, because it's a constant evolution of who I am and who I'm being asked to be. Like, I just recently became a mother, and it's like I'm confronting all of this authentic self stuff in being a mother, because there's all of this way to mother out there in the world right now. And it's like a constant battle of being like, no, I'm co-sleeping with my child. Like, it seems so unnatural to me to put them in a crib far away and let them like cry, or but it's like, and I think that you have to just like, you have to trust that the information you're getting from yourself is in service to what you love and your authenticity. So it is like a constant permission. But I was thinking about this, like, like when we are ourselves, we give permission to others to also be themselves. But there's a very fine line of, like what Charlie was saying about, like, once you've passed a milestone, you don't want to like go backwards. But we forget that being our authentic selves, even though it's relieving, is also very uncomfortable. It's, they say magic or life happens outside of your comfort zone, and the like safety that we create with our identities and our patterns and fitting in and whatever, you have to expand past that to reach your authenticity. And I think when we're all sitting in, when we've owned aspects of ourselves that feels very comfortable now, we forget how uncomfortable it was to step into that. And a lot of what I've heard a lot of people say too is that you've had to dislike and be dissatisfied and be so unhappy with the circumstances you're in to take that leap. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's this unseen sort of disintegrating of the fabric of the illusion that you sit in. That's like, it gets to a certain point. And like, that's why I say most people don't come to the work I do until they're 40 plus years old, because you have to live a certain amount of time or have a trauma that makes you go, wait, is this what I'm going to do forever? But there is, I don't want to like paint the picture in this talk that it's like being your authentic self is like easy and cool and nice. It is once you're like sitting in it. But as you're walking towards it, it's like, oh no, that over there, oh my God, I don't know, I think I have to go back. And, you get you have to indulge in the like satisfaction and the freedom that you feel in those moments of being truly expressed and whatever. But I don't want to skip over how terrifying and uncomfortable it is at first. And like, for me, going into mom spaces now, I'm confronting that again, because I'm like, I don't get on board with a lot of the, ways you're supposed to parent these days, even though like parenting has come a long way from the way my parents were parented and everything. But there's still a lot of things where I'm like, I'm an intuitive parent, like I don't know about any of these rules or timelines or whatnot that everybody is like, is your kid doing this yet? I'm like, are I supposed to? I don't know. They're alive. We're doing great. So anyways, it continues happening. As you expand, the edges of your comfort zone are met over and over and over again.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that reminder, because it is easy to sit in the delight of being authentic and being who you are. And it's definitely a work in progress. But it is sticky. It is sticky and uncomfortable when you crossing that threshold and realizing that you may have had a pattern that's not serving you anymore or not giving you what you want. But I always know that awareness is the key. So this is having an awareness of it and being able to make a choice about how life is coming to you because of what has been imprinted up until now, I guess. And moving past that can be very uncomfortable and very sticky. Yeah, with comfort zone, it's like this muscle that gets tested and grown, because once you expand a little bit, then that becomes comfortable. Then you can expand a little bit more. And I guess it's about, are you a person who has a curiosity about that? What if this is what life is? For me, life is a curiosity. So I'm always, wondering about things. Yeah. Thank you for that perspective, Fanny. It was good to come back to that. Yeah.
Can I add something to that? What I'm finding is that as I go through life, I'm going through these identities. Like when I was at Angel, I had this man in a booth at a book expo who was dressed as a devil. And so I had to meet. He said, well, you're an angel. Let's have an intercourse with the devil. So I had to really be uncomfortable in that moment. Plus, one man said, if you're an angel, why don't you just fly up the escalator and use the escalator? So I had to really get into my authentic self and deal with that. So every role that we take on as an angel, I was dressed as an angel with my halo. Everything we have to be totally integrated in that, because there can be things that come up that would challenge us in that moment, and we have to look really on that space and that skin in that moment. One day I got a message, you don't need to be an angel, but why don't you just be an angel? So I took off the halo and threw all the wings away, and now I'm just an angel. And people see that like as an angel.
Without the costume. Yeah.
I'm no longer Angel Ida.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Ida. I can see you as an angel without the costume now. Yeah, thank you. Alison, did you want to add anything?
Sure. Yeah, that whole being uncomfortable it really hits home. I had like a complete meltdown in my late 30s, and life was just unmanageable. I could not function. And I had to learn to start to look within. I had to learn to look at my part in why my life was so dysfunctional. And I had to become very uncomfortable in figuring out how to move forward and how to get out of that. And I'm a completely different person than I was 20 years ago. Okay, I won't say completely different person. We all have our core personalities, right? But I function very differently in life than I used to. And I really do try to bring the same amount of compassion and empathy that I show to my clients to myself. Mm. And I'm still working on that. That definitely is a work in progress. But I tell my clients, look where you're at today. Literally pat yourself on the back. You've survived. And yeah, I mean, for the most part, I kind of like who I am now. 25 years ago, I did not like who I was. That doesn't mean that I don't want to still work at being better in, how more authentic can I be? But that getting uncomfortable for me was the key in figuring out literally who I was and who I wanted to be and who I didn't want to be.
Beautiful. Thank you, Alison. I think that's a great segue into the last 10 minutes of our hour. And if I can just go around the circle, and if you were to give a piece of advice or a piece of, something to take action with, a tool that someone could walk away with after today, what would that be in terms of getting the courage to step out and be more yourself? And authenticity is an interesting word. For me, I keep coming up with the word real. I just want to see you for who you are. Real feels more grounded to me. So yeah. Barbara, did you have something you wanted to share with the audience who might be listening later?
Let me think a sec here. Let me download something fast.
Okay.
I think actually what's coming to me may not be what you asked at all, but I'll say what was coming to me. give what you want to receive. So if you want hugs, you start giving hugs. If you need someone to say, I love you, you start saying, I love you. And it's just metaphysical principle, spiritual principle. Give what you want to receive.
Beautiful. Thank you. It's almost be the demonstration of what you want to see in the world. Yeah. Great. Thank you, Barbara Marie.
Yeah.
Fanny, did you have something?
Oh boy, it's such a big question.
I can come back to you. I think Laura was ready.
Great, Laura.
Yeah.
Self-compassion. And just circling back to give what you want to be, for us to start in really small ways, letting go of that critical self-judgment and just starting in slow, small ways each day to acknowledge that compassion towards ourselves. Then that self-compassion turns into courage, which turns into action.
Beautiful. Yeah. I know on my path, it's been a big one too. You can't be compassionate to others if you're not fully compassionate to others, if you're not starting with yourself first. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for that wisdom. Fanny. Yeah.
I have like 1 million answers.
Just a couple will be
Yeah,
fine.
you know, I would say to start assuming that you have it. To just start, if you feel the call, if you're like, if you're either at the point where you're like, my life like this has to be over, and or I'm being drawn or called into something, start just assuming that what you need, you have already, and explore that, right? Curiosity has come up a lot, and like curiosity is your bridge out of perception, out of the like limiting way that you say things are. And so just be curious. How about that? Be curious and assume you've got it.
Yeah, great. It's the question. It's more like what if I can? What if I can? But not what if I can't. Yeah. What if I can? Love that. Thank you. Curiosity. Who haven't we just talked to? Ida.
Yeah. What I know for certain is that life is an evolution. I have lived at least 10 lifetimes in this lifetime as a parent, as a mother, a wife with a schizophrenic husband, with a domestic, physically abusive husband, as a foster mother, with the head of a nonprofit, also as a nurse, as a teacher, and now as a minister. So this was the right time for me to become a minister, because before I would have done it in a traditional way. When I went to this church, this new place, and I said, I give reading. Those said, we would love to have you give us a reading. So it's the right time now for me to become a minister, so I can bring all my gifts and all my talent. I just asked them, I want to teach a class on goddess. Oh yeah, you can teach a class on goddess. So everything is like peeling off the layers and just letting ourselves evolve, and know that we came to evolve this lifetime, and we're going to live, if you allow yourself, you can live at least 10 lifetimes in one lifetime, and how they all emerge together, one build upon the other. But I'm a much better place than I were when I first met that schizophrenic man when I was 25 years old as a nurse than where I am now. So it's just, life is an evolution. So be open to evolving and go with the flow and not be afraid. Just let it happen, and you'll be okay.
Love that. It goes along with the curiosity piece, doesn't it? Life's an evolution, and be curious about it. Yeah, thank you. Alison. Oh, who haven't I?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've lost
I would say one of the big things is to really start to pay attention to those thoughts that are running in the background all the time. you know, the hamster wheel. We have thousands and thousands of thoughts a day, and most of them are negative or repetitive. And so start to really hear them. Listen to what you're telling yourself and then challenge it. Right? All those thoughts that say, oh, I can't do that, or oh no, I'm not good enough, or oh, what will people think, or whatever it is that, you know, your theme might be. But, you know, if a friend was telling you that out loud, you tell them to stop, because you would then be able to defend yourself. Well, no, that's not true. So do it the same way for your own self-talk. And it can start to shift how we feel about ourselves. There are thoughts that we have impact our emotions and vice versa. So, right, everything's connected. So that's one little trick.
Yeah, it is a great trick, and a very, very powerful trick, catching that thought. It's almost like you can be asking yourself, you're telling me everything, all the reasons I can't do it. What are some reasons that I can, or I can, change? Great. Charlie.
I'm so grateful that I got to spend this time with you all. It was so cool to hear your thoughts and your experiences. Thank you for sharing. And thank you, Jennylee. You've done such a great job facilitating us. I have learned that I have the responsibility and authority to give myself permission to change the world. I think institutions like the military inspired hierarchy of a corporation, those systems rely on hierarchical permissions. And sometimes when we have been living within that made up world, let's remember that it's made up. When we've been living in that world, we come to internalize the belief that we need approvals, that we need resources from others. And unworking that, until I unworked that, I couldn't start my business because I was waiting for someone else to give me permission and get on board. And when you do not work in those structures, no one can give you that permission. And so it's important to remember we are innately empowered to do that. And it is our responsibility. So there's remember, being disempowered serves gluttonous, dark forces. And where we want to create more light, we must feed our light and know that by, as Barbara said, by shining our light freely, we give others permission to do the same. And there is more than enough space for all of us to shine at our brightest. But no one is going to invite you or give you permission to do that. That comes from you because there is the divine within you, and you have the right and authority to shine brightly and create the change you want in the world.
Beautiful. Thanks, Charlie. Powerful words. Laura, did you want to say something? You're off mute.
Yeah, I was just saying about the self-compassion. Yeah, I'm good.
Oh, you're good? Okay, great. Have I covered everyone? I guess my tip is coming back to having self-awareness. And I'm a breathwork practitioner, so it all starts with the breath for me. So actually, step one is to notice how you're breathing. Because the rate of your breathing is a reflection of how you're responding to the world or reacting to the world. So if you're holding your breath, or your breath's not moving, or you're gasping, that kind of thing. So really coming back to noticing what's happening inside you, noticing how you react to things, what emotions come up, what thoughts you have, Alison, that's really important. And coming back to getting to know yourself from within is kind of where that was my power tip to change for myself. Until I started noticing that for myself, then I couldn't really change anything in my world. So yeah. Thank you, everyone. So I'm so grateful to have met you all, and thank you for coming on from Canada, San Diego. I'm not sure where you are, Fanny. And Sophia and I actually live in the same town, just 2 hours north of Sydney in Australia. Alison, where are you from? I can't remember where you're from.
Edmonton, Alberta.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So thank you for all these beautiful people coming in from all around the world. And I really appreciate your perspective on this topic. And thank you for having the courage to step in and speak to who you are today and to share some of your wisdom. I'm going to hand back to Sophia.
And thank you, Jennylee, for an amazing conversation. And I'd just like to take a moment to really honor you, because I know you're not well this morning. Your body is giving you big signs to go rest. So I just want to honor you for coming on. You've done an incredible,
Thank you.
I'm not going to say job, but it's been an incredible opportunity and facilitating such a wonderful conversation, wisdom circles, with so many speakers. And thank you, Barbara Marie and Alison and Charlie and Dr. Ida and Fanny and Laura for joining us. Oh my God, for everyone out there who is listening to this live or the replay when that comes on, do click on the links below, reach out to these amazing women, connect with them, have a chat. You never know where that can lead. And also come and check out Sacred You. You can join us for Sacred You, that's letteru.love. Join us for free by putting /join free. Come and hang out in our village where we have lots of opportunities for women to connect with other like-minded women from all over the world, whether it's just chatting, speaking opportunities, all sorts, empowering yourselves, empowering others. So thank you. And I look forward to next month, Jennylee, when you will be back for the next edition of Being You, Living Life Authentically. So thank you.